Anti-vaxxers are now contracting coronavirus and unfortunately dying as a result. And we're hearing more and more from family members who are remorseful for listening to the anti-vaccine disinformation that you're likely to hear in various right-wing circles. In fact, Mia Vineyard is one of those people who has deep regrets. She and her husband did not get the vaccine. They both unfortunately contracted coronavirus, and her husband, Brad, unfortunately did not make it. So a local news station in California reports that Mia Vineyard and her husband Brad were hesitant to get vaccinated. They wanted to wait and see how other people reacted to it. But now it's too late. Brad tested positive for COVID in late June and died after battling the virus for 2 weeks in an intensive care unit. They were together for 12 years and married for 9. Mia is incredibly regretful. She says, quote, "It all happened so fast. I wish we would have gotten vaccinated. I mean, one simple shot could have prevented all of this. It's nothing like the flu." When people say that, it was nothing like the flu. Now, as I mentioned, she also contracted the virus, but she luckily did not need to be hospitalized. Clearly she made it, but she's devastated that she's lost her partner as a result of this. She says, "I keep expecting him to walk through the door, but that's not ever gonna happen again, and that's a hard pill to swallow." And look, losing your partner obviously is awful. It's just such a sad, tragic story, but remember, when your loved one is hospitalized with COVID, you're not allowed to be in the room with them. You're not allowed to be there to comfort them. And as her husband was dying, the only thing she could do was watch him from a windowsill that overlooks the ICU unit. Or the ICU, I should say. So there are real consequences to the disinformation that we're seeing about the vaccine, Dr. Richey. And I don't know what to do to mitigate that disinformation. I mean, we're doing our best, but these stories are just so tragic.
They're tragic and they are avoidable. There's another number, virtually 100% of individuals who are being hospitalized and dying today, they do not have the vaccine. In the beginning of this whole thing, it was politicized because Trump and his cronies wanted to spin a narrative that was completely false, completely 100% wrong. And individuals are still in the middle of this misinformation. Now, I don't care about the politics of the folks who are being adversely affected. I don't care about their politics. These are human beings. And for the most part, they are 100% authentic in their belief because they put their trust in the wrong people. And the people that they trusted are well aware that they're lying. They are well aware. You don't have to go no further than Fox News talking about the anti-vaccination crowd, and they're vaccinated. They have a vaccination passport protocol while still entertaining guests calling it fake news or not that big a deal or no worse than the common flu. So they're literally taking positions adversarial to their own understanding, showing that they really don't give a damn about the people that they serve.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I want to be clear about something else. We certainly see the misinformation on right-wing outlets, but you also see it on places like YouTube with shows that, I mean, are barely even shows, but they've got at least a little bit of an audience, and I don't know what their political ideology really is. Sometimes they posture as leftists, but there's a great comment here by one of our viewers, Shireen Naruzi, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She writes in and says, "Anna, there are left-wing influencers who have also spread COVID vaccine misinformation, i.e. Convo Couch. They claim that it causes autism and blood clots. They know it doesn't. They know it doesn't. They know it doesn't. There's no data, there's no evidence to that. But dabbling with conspiracy theories might grow your audience, so why not do it, even as you know that people can literally die as a result of the disinformation that you're spreading. It's just so, it's infuriating. But this is what happens. I mean, every step of the way with this pandemic, the United States has experienced failure, right? Because again, all of the incentives are in the wrong place. So we don't want to pay workers here a living wage. So what do companies do? They exploit labor in other countries, and when our supply chains are vulnerable to something like a pandemic, for instance, we have a shortage of masks. We have a shortage of the products we need to not only keep us safe, but to keep healthcare workers safe, frontline healthcare workers safe. We didn't have the necessary tests. We had all sorts of disinformation from the very beginning from the Trump administration. We didn't have enough hospital beds because under a for-profit healthcare system, having enough hospital beds with the off chance that there might be a pandemic and you might need them doesn't make much sense. You're actually wasting money on beds that typically are empty, right? So we had a shortage of hospital beds because of this for-profit model. I mean, it was just a failure from the very beginning. And then you get to the media. And with the media, if it's sensationalized, if there are conspiracy theories, you're gonna draw an audience, right? So who cares? Who cares if you're spreading disinformation that could lead to people literally dying? Who cares? You're making a quick buck off of your cute little conspiracy theories. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's horrible. But people really do have to start challenging their own networks. If you are on social media, you have some level of influence. If you see this rhetoric, challenge it. In your family, if you hear this rhetoric, challenge it. Even if it's someone as close as your spouse or your parent or your children, challenge it. Because you never know, that information, that sobering information may actually save somebody's life. Will it be uncomfortable temporarily? Perhaps. You may get talked about, you may get dragged on social, fine. You're doing what you know is the responsible thing to do.
Exactly, and if you happen to be someone who understands the importance of getting vaccinated, but you have family members who unfortunately have bought into the anti-vaccine propaganda, there's the other issue, right? Where how do you strike a balance where you're encouraging your family member to get the vaccine, you're trying to, I guess, deprogram the propaganda that they've unfortunately absorbed, while also maintaining your relationship with that family member? Because this man's sister, her name's Valerie Burdell, was trying to encourage him to get the vaccine, but eventually decided to give up because it was causing a wedge in their relationship. I said, Brad, I'm begging you. And it just got to where I had to stop. As a big sister, because I'm his oldest sister, it's always nag, nag, nag. I feel guilty sometimes for not pushing it harder. Not in a million years did I think I would lose my brother to something like this. So I'm begging my friends and my family to take this seriously.
Man. That is so deep, because now, and I feel so sorry for this brother, because now he has to live with the guilt and the what ifs, right? When it looks like he tried to do everything he could do. There comes a point, and I experienced this as a gang deprogrammer. There comes a point where when all the chips are on the table, grown people are still grown people. And they still have a choice with their own healthcare. It's sad and it is unfortunate that this is happening because the deaths are avoidable. But when you know you've done what you can do and you have pushed the agenda as much as you possibly could, it's out of your hands. And sometimes we have to learn, and this is just, I'm just talking, human to human here. Sometimes we have to let go so that we can continue to move on as well. And I hope that person's able to do so.
Well, the one silver lining to this story is now that she's lost her husband, there's encouragement for other family members to get vaccinated. And so the word is that it's working. So just within the past week, Mia said that at least 24 of the couple's vaccine hesitant friends have sent messages to her saying that after holding out, they have either received or scheduled their first vaccine shots after hearing Brad's story. So don't wait for someone in your family to die. Don't go through that. It's awful, it's traumatic, it's tragic. Please be an advocate for yourself and your family members and do the right thing, get vaccinated. It saves lives, it really, really does, and it's super important that you do it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.